The minor pentatonic scale is such a cool scale to learn, and you're going to hear it in so many types of music. Pop, rock, funk, jazz, blues, you name it, it's there. So whether you're going to learn a really famous bass line or you want to make something up, this scale is going to be really, really useful for you. Pent means 5, so the pentatonic scale just has 5 notes in it. That's it. So we're going to learn lots of shapes here, but just bear in mind that you're playing the same 5 notes all the way through. And in this case, we're going to start off in the key of A minor pentatonic. So the first shape we'll use is this one going across the fretboard this way. So we'll start on A, which is the 5th fret of the E string. Now if I just play those first 3 notes, you hear Smoke on the Water, and if I reverse them, you hear Another One Bites the Dust. So there you go. I mean, first of all, you're hearing how famous this scale is. Just one thing to mention actually is if you put this note in here, you get the blues scale. It's exactly the same, just with the addition of that note. And sounds bluesy, that's why it's called the blues scale. So just learn that pattern, the first one you do. Make sure you use the correct fingers, 1, 4, and then 1, 3, 1, 3, and just play it up and down. You can do different patterns. It's a really, really cool scale. Then we'll move on to the pattern going across or along one string. Now the great thing about this pattern here is it's kind of breaks you out of just playing the same old thing in the same place. Here are a few things you can do going up one string. So start at the 2nd fret of the G string. I'm just going to use my first finger for this. Now this is a really, really visual one, this, because if you take away that last note at the 14th fret, you have a very symmetrical pattern where the first 2 notes have a gap of 2 frets, then the next 2 a gap of 1 fret, another 1 fret, and then another 2 frets. So you can see it's just extremely easy to memorize it that way. So at that point, you've played your 5 notes of the pentatonic scale, and then the last one is just the octave, the 14th fret, okay? So be able to play this in any direction and actually from any note within the pattern. So if you know your notes really well on the fretboard, then you know that wherever an A is, and you can do this on any string, it doesn't have to be the G string. Whenever there's an A, you know the next note in this scale is just going to be 1, 2, 3 frets up in this direction. Doesn't matter where you are. Equally, if you're on an A and you want to go not higher up the string this way, but lower this way, you know that the next note is 2 frets down. These shapes start on an E string and then just go across all 4 strings. Now once you learn these, and do learn them as shapes and patterns, but you kind of want to break out of that as soon as you can, because if you really look carefully you see lots and lots of patterns within patterns, which actually that pattern going across the string we just learned is quite a good one to get you breaking out of just playing, thinking of these as boxes. You want to think outside of the box. But having said that, it is a really, really great way of mapping out the fretboard and learning all these shapes. So shape 1 starts, well, it's exactly the same as the first shape. We just add the notes on the G string. So just remember, it's still the same notes. In this case, A minor pentatonic, you've got A, C, D, E, and G. And those are the notes that we're playing all the time. So here we go, first shape. Use this as a technique exercise as well, so I'm just alternating my right hand fingers and using first finger, 4th finger, and then 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3. Now when you get to improvising around with this, you can break the rules, okay? But for now, just keep it fairly strict. Okay, shape 2 moves to the 8th fret. Shape 3, the 10th fret, 12th fret, and notice here I'm getting a bit higher, so I'm just moving my bass out in this direction so I can just access the higher register a bit easier. Now that's the 5th shape, and it's the 15th fret, the G up here. Now if I just transfer that same shape down 1 octave, you can see how it just repeats itself. So learning the entire fretboard in that way will really open up your playing, because you can do loads of solos, loads of fills. You'll start to recognize these sounds when you listen to really great bass lines that contain this scale, and let's face it, a lot of them do. Okay, so once you get these patterns right under your fingers, you'll start to really recognize this. Now this is the A minor pentatonic scale, and I've written a little backing track. Now to fit all the shapes in a bit better, I've moved it just to the 1st fret, so F. Now it's exactly the same. You just, instead of playing these shapes starting on the 5th fret, you just move to the 1st fret. Now you can do two things here. You can either just play really simple bass line, just follow the root notes and just fill every now and again with that scale. You can either just use the 1st shape or just any of the ones that you're practicing at the time. Or you can just play a bit of a solo and just go, be very creative with that. Or a combination of both. Bass playing, I think, is about providing a really solid foundation and keeping things very solid and groovy but simple. But since this is practice, you can go crazy. The objective here is to learn the scales and the shapes. So you could even just literally play each shape up and down, just along to the backing track, just hearing how it fits in each time.